you perform, there's a fearlessness about you that is just so inspiring. In order to be a true artistic person, do you think you have to have both? A little insecurity and a little vulnerability, and then also fearlessness. Is it a good combo?
I think everybody's different, really. I know people who don't have any fear, and they're just as effective as people that do have fear. I know people who are fearful, and then therefore they're angry. I know people that are fearful, and therefore they're, more human. I mean, I think I can really only speak for myself. Yes, I do have a lot of insecurities, and I'm so scared most of the time. So I'm so grateful that I'm able to do different characters in my life and shut out the voices that say to me, I can't do it. Because if I'm playing a character, then I'm that character. It's a huge gift. It's less expensive than therapy, 5 hours a day, 7 days a week, which I probably need. But if I can get a character and play that character's inner life, then it shuts out all the other voices that aren't helpful, the negative voices.
Let's talk about your characters for a moment, because when we think about SCTV and all those characters, from Edith Prickly to Edna Boyle to the Cheryl
Kinsey.
That's her. They're seared into our memories, and they're such a part of our culture. Oh. What was it about those characters? Who's your favorite?
Of all the characters, you mean on SCTV that I did? Well, I love Edith because she's such an extension of me, and so it's easy to improvise with her. So. It was really fun to do. Also, I know it reached a lot of people, that kind of outspoken, outrageous, fearless person. Probably appealed to people that maybe wish they could be as outspoken and flamboyant, I guess. I love that character. I love Libby Wilson because Libby was really neurotic, and so really played to my strengths. There was a lot of me and Libby. I love Perini. I don't know if I could do Perini Sclerosi anymore because she was a refugee and immigrant. And I wonder, in the climate that we're in, if
it would resonate.
That in some way I don't know, stepping on somebody's toes. Of course, everything we did in SCTV was only so profoundly innocent. Nobody ever tried to change lives or be politically correct. That's a sad way that comedy's going, I think, to be restricted and inhibited. That character wouldn't have been invited, it wouldn't have been created if probably I was in the world that I'm in right now. I'd be frightened to create somebody that didn't speak English and that you were laughing at. And yet, you were laughing at her real attempt to speak, to belong. It wasn't that I was saying anything bad about an immigrant. I'm an immigrant. So it's a very difficult time right now with comedy.
Let's talk about some of the characters that are with you that are still your friends after 50 years, from Godspell and from SCTV. What was it about those people and that combination of people that created friendships that endure so well?
I think Canada has had a lot to do with it. I think that if we had started an SNL, press, pressure, publicity, awards really would have stood in the way of friendships, much more competitive. But we were in Toronto creating both of those projects, so we virtually had each other. We weren't pulled away by, all the things that pull people apart now, and press and that kind of competition when you're so public, when people are watching you every week, and then the internet happened, and now you're looking what people think of you. We grew up in an innocent time, so we didn't look at a phone and say, oh, wait a minute, you mean nobody liked that character? So it's just which all creativity should have, a great playing ground without any interference from criticism and people's opinions. And so I think that it had an enormous amount to do with the time we were living in and that we were in Canada. We had each other, we bonded with each other, we depended on each other. And when you have that to start with, they're lifelong friends.
Yeah. Was there ever any great advice you were given in your career?
You know, Marty gave me great advice. Don't take yourself so seriously. It's a business. And this is another advice that I got, which was really life-changing for me. I used to go out into the audience and think, oh gosh, what are they going to give me? Are they going to like me? Is this going to go over? And I switched gears. I was probably in my late 40s, and I'm like, now I'm going to go out in the audience and see what I can give to them. And it was, what can I bring to the party, not what they can give me. And it was a huge shift for me. So I would say that to kids, or maybe they already know it. I don't know, kids are so much smarter these days, it seems, when I was their age. And I'd say another thing, that if you have talent, if that's been reinforced, I would say it's a gift. Many people don't have that luxury. They don't have that kind of creativity. Some people wish that they had it, but they haven't gotten around to it, or they haven't had the luxury financially to tap those things right. And so I would say to young people watching and listening that if you have a spark of talent, don't waste it. Cultivate it. Don't listen to other people. Listen to your own inner voice. And see what you can bring to the party, not what the party can bring to you. And I think you'll have a happier life.
Were there ever moments where you thought, oh my God, this is a lot to handle?
Oh.
And, you know, something's got to give here.
Well, I of course I did. Of course I thought about, this is a lot to handle, but I hoped in my life, I don't know if I ever, if I look back on my life and say, I wished I had done it differently with my children and my career. I made real efforts and decisions in my life to be with my children when I could have been starring on Broadway, could have been, I mean, these are all real things. And my gut just told me, you are not going to be happy unless you're back home in LA with your children. And then there were times when I talked to my boys and said, do you want to come with me? With that, when I was in Williamstown. And so they thrived in that way. And just this summer, I'm glad that you're asking this. You know, I'm older, there's less opportunities, although thank God there are opportunities. And I was asked to do Romeo and Juliet. I was asked to do 2 movies. And I know that my son and his wife, my daughter-in-law, have an 8-year-old child. She's my granddaughter. And they're going to be busy this summer, and they asked me if I would help. And I said no to all the work, and I'm just going to be with her. No. I pray that there'll be work in September. I don't want to be so, you know, I'm really cool. I don't care. You know, I'm hoping that there'll be work because I want to keep working. Well,
there's a lot going on in New Brunswick for you that we
I'm going to be in New Brunswick. Come on, New Brunswick. But, you know, so I have made those decisions. I hope I've made healthy ones. They've been difficult to make, but along the way, I've had to balance, and I hope I've done a good job at that.
Your career is just so wide. It's like film, comedy, TV, the one-woman shows, SCTV. You're an author. You know, from all of the things that you've done. It seems that sometimes the disciplines require a different skill set. You know, if you're standing on stage by yourself in one woman, or you're with an ensemble, are they different muscles?
I don't know if they're different muscles, but one's lonelier than the other. The one-woman shows, every night I would walk on stage and I go, dead man walking. I'm like, this can't be healthy. Can't believe I'm thinking this is a prison sentence. Dear God. But that was, you know, I'm glad I did it, but I like much more to be with a lot of people. you know, my preference is the theater because I love connecting with an audience. But in the last few years, I've done television, and I think I've grown as an actress more. So I think you can take a little bit from everything. So grateful that I can do all the things that I've been doing, and each one develops a different muscle. It really does. Physically, you have to be really physically fit for the theater, that's for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know. I hope we'll see what happens when I do another play, because it's been since 2019, the beginning of the pandemic, that I've done anything on stage. So
Right.
we'll see.
Okay.